to another edition of Mortgage Talks. I'm your host, Adam Hires. Remember to go to hirescoaching.com, get your free 12-week business transformation playbook today. Listen, here's what I want to tell you. The interest rates today, when this release, who knows what it's gonna say. But today, as we're recording this, it had a jump, a spike in the interest rate go back up after a big plummet the other day. Here's the deal. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your business and I want you to see how many refinances you did this year. And then I want you to just knock that off the board. And then I want you to multiply how much you have left. So let's say you do $10 million this year. You had $4 million in refinance transactions. Now you have $6 million. I want you to multiply that by 0.75, which is going to be $4.5 million. I want you to think in terms of that is your business. So why do I say that? Because refinances can just fall off the board just like that. And the market can get tighter by 25%. So that's 4.5. Now, should that scare you? It should get a lot of fire under your butt. That's what it should do. You have to go, okay, now my business, if it's going to drop off like that, what can I do right now to gain back up that market share? What can I do now? Well, how can I push into the purchase business now, the relationship business now? And now, listen, here's the deal. If, for example, the market stays up, market's still great, the purchase business, and you don't lose that 25%, it's not 25% harder, and you're pushing in like there is going to get 25% less, then you're going to make up the ground, and you're going to be right back at least at where you are now with the refinance game. But you have to think in terms like that. What can be the pain points? How can I push in? How can I get more relationships? How can I dive in today? If you don't like how that sounds, guess what? It can happen just like that. The market can get 25% harder, and guess what? Your refinances can go down. Here's the deal. Everybody's always going to buy homes, but it can shift 25%. We know that 25% can fall off the board. We know that refinances can fall off the board, but guess what? If you're 50% better, if you're pushing in and you're doing, instead of 3 hours a week of trying to prospect, you're pushing in 10 and 15 hours a week, guess what? You're going to be just fine. You're going to push in, and you're going to push the other suckers out of your way. All right, so we're going to get into it. That's my soapbox today because I love you, because I care about you, because I want you to grow. And if you're listening to this podcast, I want you to understand and feel the pain point before the pain point actually happens so you can make the changes right now in your business. All right, so we got Josh Harman, my buddy Josh Harman. He is a local guy to me here in Lexington, Kentucky, and he is big time, been in the mortgage industry for a long time. Looking forward to Josh telling me a little bit about the whole audience about himself, and he's doing great. The guy is got a lot of knowledge, and he's got a lot to give to you, the listeners. So Josh, welcome on.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate you having me, man. Yeah, my name is Josh Harman. I work here at a local bank here in Lexington, Kentucky, Bank of the Bluegrass, and I've been in the mortgage business since 2003. More importantly, I've got a family of 5. I've got a lovely wife and 3 daughters. So that's, we'll get into that a little bit, but that helps me work hard. I enjoy what I do, but that I've got something to work for. But yeah, I've been originating loans since process for 2 years, which I would not take back. Mortgage business started originating in 2005, managed about 4 or 5 years in between there, and I'm strictly originating now. So still love what I do after these. Been through a lot, as you can imagine, epidemic we've been through, and then the mortgage crisis back in the 08-09 era. So but yeah, man, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So love it. You got a lot of experience, been through some chaotic times. We're in a chaotic time this whole year. It's been a good time, but a chaotic time. But love to get the insights. And again, Josh is doing fantastic. You're gonna close out a great year in this market. To do what he's done this year, he's in the top percentile in the top few originators in this area. I don't know where the ranking is, but he's in the top few originators in this area. So doing it big time, growing his business. He's continuously out there. What I like about Josh, you can tell Josh is, just like he said, you know, he loves what he does. He's pushing in, he's driving, he's getting up every day, lacing them up and going to work. So I love the attitude. Josh and I have talked different times, and I have him on this podcast because I respect him a lot. You know, and it's unusual. It's first loan officer in this area that I've had on the podcast because I respect him and know he's got a lot to give here. So Josh, you said you had some big things as far as it's your big whys of what drives you every day, which is your family. You know, where else you get that drive from? What gets you up in the morning, and you know what's your mindset of the day? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I kind of hinted at that. Yeah, definitely my big why is my family. You know, want to provide for them in big ways and have family trips and do all that fun stuff. Also with that, just helping people. Like I just have a heart for people. I know that what we're doing, you know, what you're doing as well, is we're making a big difference in people's lives. You know, it's not just another transaction; they're people. I mean, we have to beat numbers, right? To provide for the family and stay employed. But you know, it's just my why is helping people in this business. And there's nothing more satisfying than, you know, getting that closing table and seeing the smiles on their face. And you know, I like to hand them a box of chocolate covered grapes for a nice final touch, and just being able to hand that over and say, congratulations. It is your biggest investment you're going to make and have made to date. And being a big player in that is huge, man. It's huge.
Yeah. It is huge. And it ain't all roses. But it's definitely right. You laugh about that, right? There's a lot of traps in a mortgage that'll get you. But you know, moving that along and seeing it to the end. I always talk about. I say we're like night nurses. You know, and it's funny. I was actually talking to a night nurse probably like a week and a half ago, and I was making that reference. She's like, "I'm a night nurse." That's actually. I was like, "That's great," because I was like, we you know, like the night nurse, we poke and prod, and like, "Hey, no, we're gonna need some blood right in the middle at 2 p.m. when you're sleeping to get this, you know." But at the end of it, if they love us, and if we've cared for them, like that. You know, that is a huge accomplishment because there's a lot of originators not doing a good job. And what I can tell you is that I love what you're saying, what your why, and what you love that. I was thinking about this today because I was actually coaching someone, and it was a huge mistake. It was a huge mistake that I ever coached them. You know, it's part of that knowing who you should be coaching, who you shouldn't, and what clients you should take on, and what clients you shouldn't. But I can't coach character, right? Like you can't coach character. And like he was like, I don't really care about the clients. I just want to make money. I'm like, whoa, I can't really coach that. Like, I mean, if you don't have that basis, if you don't have that in a root of value and what you're going to do for people and how you're going to be a servant for people, then everything else just kind of crumbles, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, and as you know, and your understanding is just like building relationships is a huge part. I've been at a family-owned bank my whole life, my whole career, basically half of my life almost. But with that, I just learned how to take care of people. You know, if you take care of people, you'll be able to take care of, you know, their kids, their grandkids at some point down the road, right? Because they respect you and know you actually care. I mean, that's a huge part. I mean, that's a huge part of the business, just building relationships.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I know we were talking at Jake's Cigar Bar. A shout out to Jake's, baby. Jake's, best place. By the way, I've been to other cigar bars around the country, and it is still the best cigar bar out there. Jake, I love you. A big shout out there. But we're talking at Jake's Cigar Bar, and you know, we're talking about the refinances, and you're talking about most of your business is still purchase business like it is mine. Go into a little bit about the mindset of the originator and the long-term game, and what's been your mindset this year, even as the refinances have kind of been the low-hanging fruit. Talk a little bit about that, would you?
Yeah, happy to, man. I'll go back a little bit with purchases. I mean, I don't think, you know, going through that 06 and 09 period, I mean, you know, if I hadn't built up those relationships with purchases with realtors and other centers of influences, I don't know if I would have made it through it, right? So fast forward to now, that's just kind of, I mean, starting that way back when, is taking care of my realtor partners, taking care of my center of influences, like my insurance people, getting referrals from, or, all the centers of influences. But I'd say my business right now is this year's about probably 75-25.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
On purchase refi. And it's just the communication part. And I was going to get into some of that. Like if I get a purchase contract, I'm communicating with both the realtor that referred it to me and the seller's realtor, listing agent, because that's just start. I mean, if you just communicate and take care of people, get things done on time. I mean, that's got to be your focus though, is the purchases. And I've kind of sat back and let the refis come to me. I could work. I mean, we're already working enough, right? I could work more and go get these refis, but I've just been taking care of the purchases and handle the refis as they come, because that's going to be in the end. I mean, end of the day, that's what we need is purchases, and they're always going to be there, right? People are going to buy houses, and I feel like in Central Kentucky, we're an attractive area. So keeping those relationships, build those relationships, kind of just keep them going with the ones that bring you the purchase business.
Absolutely. I think you do about 20 loans a month or something like that, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Have been, yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's fantastic, right? So like, listen up, the guy's doing somewhere around 15 purchase deals a month. I mean, that's huge in this market. So out there, again, I just keep imploring these listeners, because there's so many times I get on the phone call and somebody's doing 7 loans a month, and 6 of them are for refis. You're like, oh man, like your business is one. And so I love that focus, because I'm sure you've seen it in the marketplace too, where sometimes it's been easier to get a business partner to send you business right now, because there's a lot of them not focusing on them, right? Like there's opportunities there right now, especially still, and you've continued to build those relationships throughout this time, and I could see it. I could see it through your actions and obviously through your numbers that you're continuing to build that. So I love it. Yeah, I mean, it just, big hats off to you for having the mindset, because people in your position that's been doing it for a long time, I think it's almost worse for people that's been in it for 10 and 15 years, the focus that's left, because they have all this client base, and it's like, okay, now I don't have to deal with anybody else. I don't have to deal with a real estate agent. I don't have to do this. I'll just do that. And it's like, well, we don't have to deal with them, quote unquote. Then they won't deal with you when you come out, when it comes time to start getting more referrals, right?
That's right. Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's just kind of, I mean, obviously hopefully the longer you stay in the business, the more relationships you build on especially the realtor side. That's probably been a big change for me. I've always had 3 or 4 realtors. I mean, I think just the communication part that I give both sides of the transaction. Obviously, I give them what I'm allowed to give them on the seller side, right. But giving them updates, communicating up front. Here's the attorney. I mean, then down the road, they're going to be like, oh, I remember working with Josh at Bank, in Bank of Bluegrass. They did a great job. So it's just, I mean, every opportunity you have, I mean, how many people, I mean, you've got a title, insurance, 2 realtors. I mean, that's not cold calling, right? I mean, you're calling them. They're part of the deal. Hey, if you know anybody else looking for business or looking for a house, or here's my contact. They got me. So it's just being real focused on each deal and taking the time up front. If you take the time up front, it's going to be smoother. The process is going to be smoother down the whole loan process. So
yeah, absolutely. So love it. What you have any big goals this next year kind of thing? I mean, what's your forecast? You try to anything that you're trying to accomplish this next year? Could be a number, could be a feeling, could be just whatever you want it to be.
That's a great question, man. The numbers game I haven't set down and really hashed out yet. But for me, I've been working on consistency. Like I've some people in my life, like speaking just a CEO at our bank, Mark Heron. He's been successful, and I watch him. He does the same thing every day. Yeah. And that sounds awful sometimes, but it doesn't. Because if you get up and take care of yourself, your mind, reading, working out, we're going to be great people. So just the consistency for me of time, like getting up, working out, getting my me stuff done before I get to taking care of other people. So I'm just I'm working on that 5 a.m. wake up, doing terrible right now because crazy hours of working, but I'm tired of excuses. Right. But literally just consistent. Like that's going to be my word until I'm not. I mean, after I figure it out, because I make it work because I work hard, but sometimes you work too hard and just get, a little burnout. But for me, this next year is just taking care of, I'm going to have goals for work. I want to reach this goal for running. I'm going to start running again, you know, uh,
Mhm.
just setting up that, just being consistent. But for
Yeah.
me, it's that 5 a.m. wake up call. Cause I know if I do that, the day's easier to handle.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting to it before it's getting to you, right? But the part of so I talk about powerful, powerful, powerful all the time. It's power with a four in the middle, FUL, powerful, and powerful means it's energy. It's max energy, and I'm not talking about Red Bulls. I'm talking about energy, sustainable energy that comes from within, and that's investing in yourself. You're talking about it. So the number one thing we always have to have sustainable energy. It comes through prayer, meditation, working out. Energy, real energy to say, set aside time to do that. Prospecting, we have to prospect every single day, no matter how busy. That's a big quotation, busy, because busy is not productive. We have to prospect every day, and we have to market every day. We have to have a marketing mindset every single day. We have to do something marketing, or think about something marketing, or how can we get ahead? What can we do? And number 4 is relationships. We have to pour into relationships, not only at work but at home, and we have to be intentional about it every single day. Intentionality is the key, and you talked about it. You're intentional about what you're doing, intentional about how you're setting up your day. When you're intentional, you talked about work hours and work, and I always talk about 22 hours, 22 loans a month, 38 hours a week. That's really about intentionality of saying, hey, listen, it's just like I've talked to different clients and say, hey, if you're in a relationship with your wife, is it possible that from now on, if you only had 1 hour to spend a night with her for the rest of your life, is it possible to have a better relationship than you have right now? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, because you'd be just so hyper focused, intentional about that you will be. It's kind of like, I remember when, I went through a divorce, and, it was horrible, right? And it's about debilitating. And I had my daughter, and that was a very, just traumatic time for me. I didn't want to have my daughter all the time. But then when she started coming over, what I noticed is, like, I had more memorable times in those few days than I had being with her the whole week, because I was so intentional about, hey, I'm gonna pour into her. So that's what powerful is. It's about being so intentional about what you do that you could open up time. The time continuum kind of just opens up, because you feel like you have more time, you have more impactful time, and you're growing your relationships in and out of the workplace. So I love that. It sounds like to me you're being powerful in your business, in your life, and I love it, because you can tell you're such a family man. Your relationships are tight. That's one of the reasons you're able to give back. That's one of the reasons you're able to, when the deal gets tight, not just because you're working for your family, it's because they filled your cup. You filled it up by investing in them in a relationship manner, that you're able to be loving to your clients when things are bad. And that is a huge thing and a huge byproduct into your business.
That's right. And that's kind of to your point, that your question about goals is like, and I've done more reading in the last probably 3 years than I did the previous 38 years, man.
Oh, really? Nice.
It's a change. Like, just sitting down, it's hard for me to sit down and just read and be quiet, but it's huge when I do that. But that's what I've noticed in myself. I mean, I'm 41, and if I don't take care of me, it's not in a selfish manner. If I don't take care of me, I can't take care of my family in the other room now, and my clients. I mean, I can, because I'm going to work hard and try to overcome that. But I just know that's number one in the morning, and usually it's when nobody else is awake.
Right.
It's just fine, and that's when it's got to be for me. I've got 3 daughters, and we're going every which way after 4 in the afternoon. So, but yeah, man, that's kind of been on my mind probably for the last 3 or 4 months, and just I'm honing in on that. That focus is just that 5 a.m. man.
That's
awesome. I mean, how many successful people that's been there? You just read books. I mean, I've read several books. I get up at 5, read, devotional, quiet, workout, and then I go about my day. So I mean, it's consistent. You see that a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, and people just don't think that's a business practice. And when I'm coaching somebody, I don't just go into some tactic like, hey, this is what you do. Like, there's so many layers that doesn't allow us to act powerfully, doesn't allow us to act with love and conviction. There's a lot of things that pour into those things. we've all had conversations that's went south, right? Like we've taken a call when we shouldn't have. We've not been in the right frame. Like we've cut off a relationship. We've all done it. I've done it. I've been guilty of that several times. Like because you're not in the right frame, because you don't have the max energy. You haven't poured into yourself, and you just have a bad feeling going on all day, and you don't do that. One thing I always tell people too is like just take those 10 and 15 minute breaks, man. Like nobody can work all day. Like you have to take those and go refresh, reset, and then man, you can just have those great conversations, because we know that this business is not, just boom, hey, sign up, and it's just a breeze. It doesn't happen that way. People are going to get upset no matter how good a job you do, because they just don't, because there's a lot of emotions, right? And
right.
It's our job to be that emotional catalyst in a positive way, right?
That's right. Yes, sir. Yep. And setting that text, that's what we do, right? We take care of people. You just set expectations up front. Hey, here's what's going to go on. But, it's Monday. I had my week planned out last night, and I had a couple things. My cell phone didn't work. I had to go to Sprint.
Oh, no.
But you just can't, I just feel like if you take care of yourself in the morning, you plan your week, plan your day, stuff's going to come up. But you just feel like it doesn't bother me as much, right?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely right. It's kind of like, when you feel good, you feel, that you're in a blessed spot. You're going to act differently, right? It's just part of it. It's absolutely a business model that people need to follow, and every successful person does. Really highly successful, highly successful. Some people will say, well, they're successful and they don't do that. Well, it's like, I'm talking about ultra successful, or they just have it dialed in. Just have it dialed in because they have to. Because one of the things I coach and I see I've seen it myself. Like, you're just sitting there paralyzed, right? Like, how much paralyzed time do you have in a day? If you have those things in order, you don't get paralyzed as much. You act differently. You just make the decision. You go on because you feel good. You feel empowered to go through. Let's say somebody's out there and they're doing. Let's say they're doing 5-7 loans a month, and they're trying to get to 12, 15 loans a month. Like, what are some of the things that you feel like, hey, listen, this is what you need to do to grow?
That's a great question. I would say just a couple things, man, and I feel like I feel like these couple steps are simple, but they're still. I've been doing this. A couple of these things, but I'm going to start with this communication. Like, every opportunity you have, you need to be available. And whether it's, if I've got a deal going and a client or a new client, they'll call me, and I'll, say, I'd like this morning, I had a lady call me, and I was at 8:15 for a new purchase. And I was like, hey, can I call you at 9:30? I was responsive. I couldn't help her right then. You can't help everybody right away, but just communicating, like with purchases, especially if you get a purchase deal, communicate with all parties immediately. Right. Email, but I sent an email to both realtors. And one thing I've just kind of been thinking is I'm going to call, after I send an email, I'm going to call the other. Normally I'm working with the buyer's agent already, right?
Right.
But if I'm not, call them. Send an email, hey, here's our title, Josh Harman, Bank Bluegrass, we're taking care of the financing. Just starting that communication up front and getting to know people. Through the whole process, weekly updates. I'm sure you do the same. I know we've talked. You do the same thing. So weekly updates, so people don't get. I'll still get questions during the week, but hey, I'll tell people between Sunday and Monday, you're gonna have an update for the week.
Right.
But the huge thing I'll tell you, man, is follow up. Like, I would say, I was thinking today. I would say it's pretty accurate. I'd say between 55 and 60% of my business is repeat and client referrals.
Yeah.
And I know for fact that one of them is the follow up. Now I'm guilty right now. I'm behind a few months, but I'll tell you what I do. It's easy. I call them within 30 to 45 days after close. If you have any questions, let me know. If you put a question with your first payment, that's a great reason to call. And then 60 to 90 days, I send a handwritten thank you note.
Yeah.
And $5 Starbucks card in there. And I've had people walk into the bank and say, I really appreciate that card and that $5. It's like sending gold out.
Right.
So really just the follow up. I don't do a great job of following up past that. And that's something I'm working on with my team at the bank. But that right there is huge. because you can. I do, and then the thank you, I handwrite it. I mean, I learned from my dad a long time ago to be generous and thankful. You know,
Yeah,
we used to get haircuts for $5. My dad would tip $5, 100%. You know,
yep,
it just people like to be thanked and feel appreciated. So
absolutely.
that little, and I still do the handwritten notes because I think it means something. You know, so I mean, I'd say those two things are huge. But those are we all. It sounds easy, but staying consistent with that as you get busy and busier, you have to make time on Friday mornings or whatever day it is. Friday mornings, I'm
Yeah,
gonna send my thank you letters out. Friday mornings, I'm gonna call or text clients. Hey, you have any questions on the first payment? So, and that's what I was getting back to the consistency piece.
hmm,
I think I've been successful because I enjoy what I do and I work hard.
hmm,
Uh, but I think it could be easier, you know,
yeah,
with that consistency piece. So, I mean, there's those communication and the follow up process I do.
yeah,
Um, and I have nobody help me with that. So it's a little bit, you know, sometimes it's a little bit harder, but I still think that handwritten note
yeah.
goes a long, long way.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a different way of thanking people and a different way of following up, but you have to follow up, and I love that. You're absolutely right. I mean, following up and the follow through is you know, really is key, and it's more important than the initial contact, right? The following up, following through, you know, and having that, you know, that additional conversation. Uh, I mean, it really boils down to me, you know, kind of, it's really what you said is you're looking for a reason to communicate, not a reason not to communicate. And I think there's a huge difference in mindset. A lot of people there's like the reason not to communicate, right? And it's just, man, you know, somebody has a question, you know, if there's an opportunity to call, just call them. Hey, you know, if there's, you know, you know, they're asking about their first payment letter. I mean, whatever, you know, take the time. You know, don't ignore that. You know, act like they're under contract and about to close their loan. I mean, if somebody's pre-approved, call the agent and say, man, you know, here they're pre-approved. I mean, it's just like all those things that just add up, and you know, I just love you. You can just tell you lace them up and you go with an attitude of gratitude. And I know that's one of those like overplayed kind of thing maybe, but gratitude it's a business builder. It's just a business builder. I mean, it's just, you know, you can say all the other sexy terms you want to. Gratitude is huge. Like, I mean, you know how many times I've had like I remember I have gave a referral to somebody like from a different state for a mortgage loan officer, and they're like, they literally don't even thank me. They're like, okay, I'll follow up with them. I'm like, now, listen, I'm not butthurt about it. Like, it doesn't like offend me because I don't really get offended. But it's like it just goes, wow, like that's probably why you're not doing more business, right? Like, you know, a simple, nice thank you, I appreciate it, right? It goes a long way. I mean, you know, it's amazing though. You say that and people just gloss over it and they don't do it.
Well, to your point, I mean, think of that person you referred to another state. I mean, if him or they called you back or just text you back, said, hey, thank you for the referral, and then followed up later, hey, we got him closed. I mean, I like that follow up, and I do. I mean, you know, with my center influences, I say, hey, thanks for the business, we got it closed, I really appreciate it. You know, you just, I mean, I think you just have to be in that mindset. You can't fake that,
Mm,
right?
right,
You can't. I mean, you can try to fake it,
right,
but it's not going to work. I mean, but so it's
right,
just being that, you know, seeing people instead of numbers. And again, I said earlier, we have to hit goal, or we want to hit our goals and surpass them, but it's the people get us there. It's our
right.
clients that get us there, right? So, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah. You know, exactly. You're putting parameters around things to have a certain activity level, but your heart always follows you.
that's right.
And that's, you know, you can definitely tell that. But yeah, you know, I respect you. You know, I think in the mortgage industry, there's, especially in the local market, you know, we talked about this before. There's like this, like just butting heads, like a man's like territorial type of thing. You know, it's like there's like one piece of steak in the middle, and everybody's fighting over it. It's like there's the fact is that you know you do a ton of business. I'm doing a lot of business, and like we rarely even cross the paths. And even though like Lexington and like I'm in Richmond a lot and Lexington and Georgetown, we're both in those kind of mostly in the same type of market, but we hardly ever come across. I think there's one time we came across each other on the same, one, and it was like, cool, right? And it's like, but it doesn't really happen. It's your business. If you're doing a great job, you're going to control your business. I do a great job. I'm going to control my business. And, I love to have people that are in the local market too, that are just, we gotta respect each other and do a good job. And we need to have some united front. And especially during these chaotic times is having the correct, conversations with all of us, having the correct conversations as united fronts of what's going on. So people know, and, people are getting it from respected sources.
Well, to your point, that's something I've worked on over the last 5 or 6 years, probably more so the last 3 years, but just building relationships with other loan officers. Mm-hmm. I mean, you want to be around like-minded people and successful people in whatever business they may be in. But like for our clients, I mean, I've had deals where a couple guys that, Mitch, I think Mitch Florence as well. Yeah. I've had to,
great guy.
You and I've reached out, but just having those other great people in the business saying, hey, I actually know a better product, and you'll fit better with what my buddy over here has. That goes a long way. I mean, of course I want their business, but I'm going to find the right product for them. But just having and being able to text, being able to text back and forth, hey man, I got a question on this, or what would you do, or it's great for. I mean, it's good because like my wife and kids, they don't know what I do exactly. I mean, they know what I do, but if I go home and talk about a debt to income being high, or Fannie Mae having a problem with AUS, and be like, what are you talking about, right? So, but just having those people you can confide in the same business. I mean, we're after helping people, and we're gonna go up against each other, and we lose deals here and there. But having that's another huge part of the business is that equips you as a loan officer where it's, and in the long run it's going to help your client. What can we do that's going to help our clients?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all going to, you want it to filter back to that question. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And like anything, I mean, this, it's really, I think it's more like the top 10% do 90% of it, right? Like you and I and a couple, and there's some other ones in that circle are doing like 90% of the business, right? Like we're doing most of the business out there. Like, like there's so many people doing ones and twos. So the ones that are really doing a lot of business, we do understand each other, right? Because there's a different level of how we're operating and how we're, performing and how we're taking care of people. And the fact is that if the market tightens, it's you and I are going to just continue to rise, and you're going to have people falling off. So we want to have those good conversations, keep rising up, because that's also what's going to be best for the agents. That's what's going to be best for the clients, because the ones that are really the cream of the crop and trying to take care of people, that's what's going to be best for, when the market tightens anyway, right? Having the good people that are going to be in business, that know how to take care of people. And that's really what it's about. So, I think that you said it earlier, you can't really fake that stuff. It's just you either lace them up every day and you go to try to serve and try to get better and try to add value, or you have the take mentality. And the thing is with relationships, like I'm going to guess when you're talking to real estate partners, you're talking to infinity partners, that they don't just you don't have commission breath. Like you're just like talking to them in a way that is helpful and valuable. And that's one of the things that separates you from others. I would say that's probably the case.
Yeah, I mean that's what I try to build with my clients, and then with realtors is like, any questions you have, call me. And I was talking to a realtor the other day. I'm not on the deal, but they called me and had a question, which I'm fine. I mean, we're not going to get every deal, right. And a lot, my realtor partners, their clients have other loan officers and stuff like that. But I think just letting people know and being available, like I want to be the source. I want to be your source for mortgages. If it's a question whether I've got the deal or not, that just given all the knowledge, I like to give it away, right? Here's my knowledge. Give them enough to be dangerous. I don't want them, quoting rates or anything for me like that. Right. Realtors per se, but yeah, I mean, the conversations I have is I like working. I don't want to have to. I mean, I like working with a lot of the realtors. Fortunately, I work with. We have good relationships where, we have the same purpose to help people.
Yeah.
And just I want to be that source of, hey, I've got a question, got a client go look at property today. Here, there's a window's cracked, or there's some, just call, and may not be their client, like I said, but here, I'm there to help people, just to be a source of,
Yeah.
you know, good information. So
Yeah, and we have to be sometimes because they're not getting the answers from, they're just not getting that. Or, obviously there's trust issues sometimes, or they're just not getting the answers, and shame on whoever's not, getting them answers. But that's what we're there for. Absolutely, I feel the same way. It's like, hey, call me if you're not. I'm not on the deal. I'll help you, and I'll tell you straight. I won't say like, if you have the deal, for example, and they call me like, hey, is this correct? Like, does he need that? If you need, I'm like, yeah, it's an FHA standard. He's going to need that, right? If I'm like,
yeah,
well, I don't know, maybe that's one of the overlays. I don't know, maybe. But here's the conversation I'd have them. Especially if I respect someone like yourself, I never throw it under the bus. I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe there's a situation I don't know in there. Maybe
sure,
ask him this question, go back to him. I'm sure he's going to answer the question. Like, there's some that I don't know so much about. I'm like, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, you respect people out there. Like, I would never undercut people to make myself look good anyway, and you don't do the same. It's about, especially again, the players that we know that are really doing a good job. Like, we're there to, I'm there to support. If I have that question, I know that you're going to do a good job, and I'm like, well, have you talked to him about it? He's going to have that conversation. He's going to answer your question. So
right,
there's a way to support each other, answer people's questions, and all at the same time.
right. That's right, man. Yeah,
But
that's, I mean, but just real quick on the realtor piece. I mean, it's just, I haven't, I mean, I don't know how to, I mean, the best way to say this is I don't like to kiss anybody's butt to go get business. I just take care of the people.
right,
I'll follow up with people and realtors and take really good care of them. But here's what I know, what separates is making yourself available. Like, I've been in the banking world my whole career, except for a little, I tried another spot and enjoyed it for about 3 months and came back to the bank. But so your typical banker, I say banker, oh, is he 9 to 5? I mean,
right,
I had to fight that. I've had to fight that with but they know now. Can I call you after 5? Can I call you in the weekend?
right.
But you mentioned about the nurse that worked third shift. I mean, there's sometimes that I'm in those hours, for a phone call or a text or an email, So just I mean, that's a relationship you build. You want to know, they want to know, my realtors know they can call me after hours or on the weekend, because guess what? That's when our clients are looking for properties.
Yeah,
Hopefully we've already had the pre-approval done and we're not rushing. Like, it happens, but we're not doing, hey, I'm going to look in an hour and need a pre-approval letter. That's happened. Let's,
right.
let's, let's limit those, but just making sure, I mean, just making yourself available. I mean, that's how you build relationships, trust.
Yeah,
They
trust.
trust that you're going to work, do your best. Same for you. You're going to do your best. You're going to give them, the clients, and the best product, and you're going to be available. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we provide. So
You have something I want to really hit on, like, because you said kissing butt. This is the one thing. Like, there's a lot of in particular one loan officer, like, program, out there that help, it's supposed to help people grow their business. And one of the things are like, you don't have to cold call realtors and kiss, basically kiss their butt and beg for business. Always beg for business. And I hear this all the time, this terminology, beg for business. It's not like, if you feel like you're begging for business, you're doing it the wrong way. Like, that's on you. I've never felt like I'm going to call you, realtor Josh, and beg for your business. I don't ever feel like I'm begging for business. I don't beg for business. You don't beg for business, Josh. You don't. Same way, right? We go to serve, and if the fact is you just have good conversations and we let the chips fall where they may. There's no begging. If you're feeling like you're begging for realtors, the first thing you need to do is uproot whatever that's going on inside your head that you feel that way, because that's on you. That's on you. People are ready to be served. People want to be served. Just because you call someone and they're rude to you, that's on them. That's their poison, not yours. And you should never feel like you're begging for business. You're not having the correct conversations or correct mindset if you're doing that. Because if you have those two with a level of service and the right, correct conversations, you're not feeling like you're begging for business. In fact, you're empowered, and you're there to help. And so that's a tangent I can get off on. But But yeah, it's absolutely true. And it's like, well, don't ever call begging for business again. It's like, well, the people you're talking to that feel like they're begging for business is not even the loan officers I want to coach, because they got it all wrong. They got everything backwards. But anyway, Josh, before we go here, I know you got to hit and we got to get out. But any last words, to maybe the audience, to tips, whatever you want to end with.
Yeah, man. Again, I appreciate you having me on here, brother.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I kind of go back. If you're not, I played baseball till I was 22. Played at Georgetown College and played locally here in Lexington at Dunbar. And one thing that I didn't learn when I was playing necessarily, I had fun, but I used to get really mad and take the fun out of it. But when I started coaching T-ball, I taught these kids, play hard and have fun, work hard and have fun. If you're not, and I know we're in different times, and we got probably some of us we're going crazy with the business, which is just enjoy it. It's a blessing right now because you don't know what'll happen with the refis. That's why we talked about purchases. But like and this is any business, but if you're not having fun, what you're doing, it's kind of one and the same. Have fun to work hard. If I'm not working hard, I'm probably not having fun either, right?
Right.
But if you're not having fun mostly in this business right now, you need to take a step back because we're helping so many people. But I would just say that. And then, you asked me about that loan officer that's closing 5 loans a month or less. Just be consistent. I mean, I started time blocking again. You hear different things on time blocking, but I think time blocking is going to add consistency to my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just saying, no, I can't talk at noon. I'm returning messages. I'm doing this or this at noon. I'll call you at 2. If that's not good enough, we can't. It may not be good enough sometimes, but I think people just appreciate a response. But just being consistent with your schedule. Have fun, work hard, play hard. However you want. I like to say play hard.
Yep.
I want to have fun. Set a consistent schedule, and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm coming off of, man. Just I feel that in days I'm not, and I feel the stress. I mean, stuff's going to come up. Monday came up. I had 2 things I weren't expecting. One was one was a cell phone that's good now. I mean, I wasn't in there fretting at the sprint, but just get up and take care of yourself. Do that before you do anything in your day.
Yep.
Read a little bit, work out, quiet time. That quiet time it's hard for me to sit still for 15 minutes, but it's a blessing. But I'd say those 3 things: have fun, man. Be consistent, get on consistent. Now, one other thing I'll say I didn't finish saying about our CEO at Bank of Bluegrass. He's done the same thing for the last 30 years he's been there. Goes to Y every day at 7:30. He's at work at 8:15 every day. And he's successful because he does the same thing every day and intentional. Your word intentional is huge today. So, I think that's all I got today, buddy. I appreciate you, man.
Man, I appreciate you for sure getting on here. Great tips. Listeners, I'm sure are going to get a lot out of it. I got a lot out of it. It's always good to listen to heavy hitters that are doing it at a high level. And man, I'm eternally grateful for the fact that you came on here and our talks, and look forward to further talks down the road. And I know you're going to finish strong, and I know 2021 you're going to blast it as well. So if I can do anything for you, just let me know. And good times.
Hey, good luck to you at the end of the year, buddy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Remember, guys, be powerful. Get your energy, get your prospecting, get your marketing, and get your relationships intentional every single day. Are you powerful today and every day through the week? That is going to drive you forward. And remember, limited risks equals limited income.